Welcome back, everyone. Today is October 15th, Saturday, and I finally got just about all the materials I need to build the post and beam roof structure over David's memorial that I've been talking about. So here it is. If you haven't seen it, I'll put links to me building this, the videos of building it. So there's going to be 4 8x8s, one in each corner. With a 12 and 12 pitch post and beam roof. There'll be 3 trusses with the rest will be regular rafters, except they'll be 4x6 rafters, not normal 2x. And the trusses will be 6x6s with fancy metal plates, which you'll see. All right, here's most of the brackets. They are primed, and this is the back side, so it's got 1 coat because I'm only putting 1 coat on the back. The other side obviously will get 2 coats, 3 if needed. I have a few over here that wouldn't fit on the pallet, and I double stacked them, put some 2x across the general, so I got 2 pallets up there. And I just got back. I've got my braces for putting in the posts, 8x8s. And I just picked up a pallet of concrete mix. I got 42 bags on there. I'm going to take that off with the skid steer because the tractor won't like that too much. That weighs, what, almost 4,000 pounds, so it won't like that. And I'll probably only need about half of that, but I'm going to need it because I'm going to build another 5-bay shed right over here, so that I can park the excavator, the dozer, my implements, my buckets, things like that inside, and it'll free up shop space, and I won't have to do as much of this tandem. Like now I need the skid steer, so I have to move the Yanmar out of the way in order to get that out. So it gets a bit old when you got to keep moving everything. So, and I'm building a garage, as I talked about, on the side of David's house. He had always wanted a garage there, so I'm going to do that as well. So I need more concrete, but I just picked this up, and I went to North Carolina, which is not much farther than it is to go to our local Lowe's, and it was $1.30 cheaper a bag. So that's quite a bit. Say 50 bucks, over 50 bucks just for the same distance. So go figure, Lowe's. And I almost missed those. Those are the brackets that hold the 8x8 to the posts. They'll be bolted straight through anyway, but those are decorative and structural. They got 9-inch bolts that'll go through those each way, so that'll be pretty strong. Now I just picked up the rest of the lumber that is associated with this, so this basically should be everything. 8x8, 6x6s, 4x6s, 2x4s. Different lengths. These are 2 of those are just going to be cribbage blocks for me to build on top of, and 2 of these 2 I believe here are the ones that I picked out. Those are going to be, you know, the bottom of the wall, so to speak, where the bottom of the rafters and the trusses will sit. Those will sit on top of the 8x8 posts that are here. That is 2x6 tongue groove V-joint pressure treated sheathing for the roof. There's a 4x8 for the ridge. Those are the posts, those 4 8x8s. Those are the truss bottoms, 6x6, 16s, and 4x6s are the rafters down on the bottom. With the 2x4s, those are the gable end trim. So I have everything now. Now I just need to get them stained. I'm going to stain them ahead of time so I don't have to stain it over. I have to touch it up, I guess, a little bit, but I don't want to have to stain the majority over the area. So I'm going to do that, and to get the 4x4s in, I mean the 8x8s in, and get building on it, and hopefully I'll have Chris come in here in a couple weeks to help lift it up. So what I'm doing right now is I want it to be 14 by 14, so I've cut these 2x4s to the outside 14. So those will be the outside of the posts with the center mark on them, so I'll know I'm going to get the center of the 2 pillars so I get this laid out evenly. And the other posts will be back here. So we'll have to do a little rearranging of the mulch bed area, but I don't care about that because we do that every spring anyway. So we'll redo those. And then I'm going to bring the skid steer over here with the 24-inch auger, and I'm going to drill these 4 holes. I also am going to relocate the flag. I do like it there, but obviously it can't be there, so I'm going to move it in front. I'm going to put it right here, right in the middle of the planter bed that's here. So I think that'll still be nice, and it's good because it's still got the light on it for at night, which is good. So all right, I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna get everything brought up, and I'll take some shots along the way. All right, here's a layout. This is a very difficult one when you're doing it backwards, like this, to get this square. So what I'm going to do first is I've got these little blocks that I put in. So I got the centers, so the post will be in the center on those. I got the center here, so when I put my layout back, these are gonna, when I get it set in the hole before I put the concrete, I will screw these boards so that the width is perfect, 14 feet. The length doesn't matter as much because the roof is going to be 16 feet and it's going to overhang, so that when the 8x8, it's going to come over on each side. So the posts will be about 14 feet apart, but the actual beam going across it will be a little over 16. It's actually 16.5. So I'm going to get these 2 set first. Whenever you lay out what you want to do is get your diagonals, but it's very difficult to get a diagonal when you've got a bench and posts, pillars in the way. And Wendy's here, but you really need 3 people if you're going to do that, and then you have to hold the vertical part plumb, and I could have got rebar and put it in, but then those have to be plumb. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get these first 2 in, and then I'll diagonal it off those once they're up. That'll eliminate one part of the equation. And again, like I said, I'm going to build the whole roof structure right over here, and I'm trying to have Chris come, as I've talked about before. The schedule is free, that he can come and he can pick it for me, and I can set it and get it bolted into place, because that's an important, both of them are important steps, obviously, but I can't do both. So, and I can't think of anybody better to do it than him, and he knew David, so I'm hoping that he could come, because it'll make this a fitting, action. I don't know what the word for it is, but all right, well, I'm going to just spray these out, pull those pins, and I'm going to drill these holes with the skid steer. is. I gotta go back in there and clean the hole out a little bit, but that's plenty perfect. We'll get this one. I'll try to get this one so then you can see I'm just dumping it over the edge into the ditch. That's a little easier than digging in my hand. Time to pick the posts into place. Easiest way I found is to strap it and just hook it onto one fork, and that seems to work the best. Do it about 3/4 of the way up the post. This is going to have about 4 feet in the ground. The rest I will cut off because I haven't determined the height of the post yet. Probably in the 7-foot range to 6.5-foot range, because I don't want it too high off the ground. So these have an eye at one end. So on the first one, I mean, obviously on the post, you're just going to put it through and that'll cinch it on. I always try to get it on an edge when I do it. And of course, I'll be too close, so I'll have to use this edge. Otherwise, I'll have to rehook it to show you. Now, you don't want to just put the eye on this, because if you do that, it's going to slide. And there's no other way to do it now, is there? But, of course, let me drop this down a little bit. That should be enough. Let me move you closer so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so like I said, if you just slide this over like that, this thing will just slide. It'll fall off. It'll be unsafe and it won't work well. But you don't have to do it if you just take and push. So you just put the strap through the loop. Now that will cinch down on it. So let me show you one more time. Basically, you're just folding the loop like that. Pull the strap through. Place it over. And now I can reposition that to where I want it. And the higher up to the end will give you the most positioning opportunities, so to speak. If you put it too much here, you won't get as much lift out of it. Don't really need that here, but in some instances. So you're better to keep it, obviously not right near the tip, but you know, within a foot of that. So, all right, let's get these in place. Again, you got to make sure that you're on your block. And get it turned in the direction that you want. I'm going to hold that there until I get my braces on. I clamp them and screw them sometimes, but initially you just want to clamp them. You're going to have to move it around a little bit. And you got to be mindful as to where you put the clamps, because I'm going to run string and a board. You don't want that to be in the way. I'll show you that after. Like I said, it's easier if you have multiple people to help. These are going to have to get moved because they're not where they need to be. Got it leaning inward, so this shouldn't be a problem of of it wanting to come this way. So for getting these close, you want to get them close as possible. Let me move this back just a hair so you can see. So I've got my center mark. This is my layout stick, which I showed earlier. There's the pillar, center of the post, there. So basically, that needs to be, now again, I'm going to fine tune this and get it exactly off the actual pillars. But for this is close enough for right now. Because what I'm going to do here, obviously this has to be square, but I want these two parallel to the front. So these two can go in. These can be set in place because these won't move. When I square the back, I will square the back because, like I said, it's hard to, you can't get a diagonal on this until I get the posts in the ground, and then I'll measure inside to inside of all the posts. But these two will get set in place because this is what determines where the actual structure goes. So but right now I just have to move that over about just a little less than 2 inches. And then that I know that roughly this is where it needs to go. I'll put a screw in each one of these braces on the top. Don't need to do anything on the bottom because the corners will dig in. Plus, if you've got all four, it can't go anywhere. So I'm going to get this one in place, then get that one dropped in, and then I'll get it exactly where it's going to go before I put the concrete in. The next secret to getting it up when you're by yourself is to make sure you have everything you need in reach, because when you don't have anybody to get anything, you can be in a spot where you can't move, and inevitably that's what's going to happen anyway. You'll forget something, or it'll be in the wrong place, or it'll fall over. It's just what happens. Like I said, first place is just to get it roughly where you want it. And make sure you have the face in the direction. I mean, no matter what, these timbers always have imperfections. That's about as close as I can get that one. And the best thing to do is to see which way it wants to fall over and put that board in first. Like I said, you'll drop something. Sometimes it's easier to put a clamp underneath this board so that it can't drop down like what that just did. This one is not where I want it to be. It's too high up. But for now, that's where it's going. I'll move it. See, at least now it'll stand up on its own. course, the ladder's in the way. All right. That's the worst of it. Good to have one that's longer so that you don't have them all intersecting at the same place. All right, that one can't fall over. That gives you the idea. Now I'll show you after how I'm going to line it up. All right, here's the layout. I didn't get exactly while I was doing it, because you'll hear me swear. YouTube doesn't like that. So my layout, it shows where the pillar is. I got my distance off the pillar. This way they're parallel off the face. Same thing here. And then I had Miss Wonderful come and get me the outside of the posts here, so that I can now drill the holes which are here. So those are ready to go, and I'm going to drill these last two, and then I don't know if I'm going to set these today or if I'm going to do the concrete. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Problem is I need the skid steer to get the pallet load of concrete out here, and I still have the auger on. If I do these two, but I still have to swap it over for the 12-inch bit and relocate the flagpole over there. Then I've got a second flagpole that needs to go down by the shop. So we'll see which way I go, but at least right now I just wanted to show that part of the best way to do it. But now these posts are parallel with the front, and everything else in the back will square off of these. And once those posts are in the hole and pretty much where you want them, that's when you do your diagonals. Because now you can go once you get them plumb, you could say, all right, let's check it. There they go. No, it's got to move a ½ inch to the left, ½ inch to the right, but everything will be parallel and square and equally distant. right, and today, 6 years ago, David and I, Wendy, and my son-in-law Kevin went to a brewery in Connecticut called New England Brewery, and Sea Hag was one of David's favorite beers, and we had a bar years ago, and we used to have this on full time. So I was just in Connecticut a few weeks ago and brought back some Sea Hag, and I had one with David today, and I am going to put the can in the hole. And this is David's side. That's my first wife's side. She died at 23, cystic fibrosis. And this is David's side. So I'm putting it there, and it will be there forever. All right, now just the arduous task of filling this up with concrete. And you just got to be careful in the beginning that you don't move things out of the way. With 8x8s, it's not so much of a problem. But if you got 4x4s or even 6x6s, you got to be careful. But like I said, with these, you don't really. I put water in the bottom. And you just do it in lifts. You don't have to mix it. It's just boring. And tiring. Like I said, get it around both sides. If possible, don't drop the bag in. These are 80-pound bags. A lot of places don't sell 80-pound bags. My local place only sells 60. I like 80. Get it out of the way quicker. Put some in the bottom, then put some more. On the pole barns, I put in a cross of rebar, 4 inches apart, one in one way, one in the other to hold it. For this, not really necessary. You could do that if you want. Like I said, this part here just takes a little while, especially when you forget where you put the knife. Guess I shouldn't have left that door open, huh? We don't need concrete dust, and it's bad enough to have regular dust. We don't need concrete dust in there. All right, well, you get the idea. All right, so here we are. So this is the way you do it. 14 feet. This is 14 foot square to the outside of the post. Now the roof is going to overhang a little over a foot on the front and the back. It's going to be a gable, 12 and 12 pitch, which is 45-degree angle. It'll be probably close to 8 feet above where I'm going to cut. I haven't determined yet. Probably going to go up 8 to 10 inches, and then I'll cut those off, and then there'll be another 8 by 8 that sits on, that will be, you know, the roof structure will be built on, and they'll overhang, and they'll be diagonals, braces on that as well for decoration. But the easiest way to do this is set the 2 front posts, as you saw I did those parallel to the pillars, and then take whatever your length is. So these are 14 feet to the outside. So if you plumb them, hold them together like that, 2x4s, top and bottom, like that. Then what you do when you square it is you just have somebody hold the tape on that point of the post, and then come over to this point, and you do the same on that side to that side, and the measurement would be the same. If you have a construction calculator or you're good at math, you can do the math and get what it is, but the Construction Master is a good one. It just gives it to you what it is. But in this case, it was off by an inch, so it needed to move an inch from where we initially had it. So I just went on that side. That's why the 2x4s are in the hole, but I didn't need one there. I used that one, moved everything over 1 inch this way, and it was perfectly square. And those will stay on now until we get the roof set, because that will just keep everything from twisting. I'm actually, probably tomorrow, I'm going to cut these off. I'll figure out by sitting there and figuring out the height. I don't want to block, you know, it's going to be an open front, but I think we're going to put stained glass in one of the ends, so it'll probably be in this gable. I'm going to have some custom stained glass made, but you'll see what this looks like. It's going to be beautiful when it's done. So that's the easiest way I can tell you to do it by yourself. The only thing you really can't do by yourself is square it. That's very difficult in this. Not impossible, but it's much easier to have somebody to help you. It's a lot quicker. So, all right, well, I'm going to get this up, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully Chris will be coming, I'm hoping, in probably a couple of weeks, because I still have to build this. So I'm going to check with him and see how his schedule is, but we'll get that built, and the next thing I'm going to do will be building the trusses. So I'll have a video on building the trusses. There's 3 of them, so I'll have that. That'll be the next video that's up. And some good news, the Kubota is fixed, so I'll have a video on that as well. So again, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.